You're preparing to go back to the States. What's your feeling about that? Because you're talking about Taiwan as your home.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts about moving back to the States and getting back into the general population society of American society, honestly?
Oh, my first thought is like, how do I need a place to live, and I can't go without that. And I need to have an idea of how I'll make money, because my money's going to go really fast.
You have family in the States, though.
I do have family, and I have family in New York, but
Right.
they don't feel that it's convenient.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's a really big thing. And then there's so many things I don't know how to do. Like here, things are, in a lot of ways, things are really simplified. Like I want to file my taxes. I go to the office, I give them my health card, and then it's pretty much done.
Yeah, in Taiwan, a lot of things
Yeah.
are easier.
And
Especially if you're a foreigner, though, sometimes. Sometimes I'm saying.
that's true. It can work in
Yes.
your favor. Like people can help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's so straightforward. I want to go to the doctor. It's so easy to make an appointment, and I just go, and the copay is so low. It's so low. Yeah. And I have no idea, like, even how to go about finding insurance, for example, looking for an apartment. Here, I'm really used to the safety.
Yeah.
You know, I feel fine. Like just the other night, like we were together on New Year's Eve, and actually I took the MRT home that night because we've been drinking, so I didn't ride my bike. But, you know, I often ride my bike, and everything was legal.
Yeah.
I
had a headache the next day. Hungover.
Yeah, I feel like even if it's really late, I feel quite safe here. I don't often feel worried for my safety. I think there are a lot of traffic accidents, but people, I don't know, this society is so different from the US. We don't have as many guns. We don't have a lot of violent crime, and I'm very comfortable with it. And I enjoy that. I also enjoy being normal size. Like I can stand in line and I can breathe. But I feel like in the US, people are huge. And I can't breathe because my face is in someone's back, the middle of someone's back, because they're so much bigger than me. Just stupid things because it's like that. And like the car culture, I hate it.
Yeah, you mean because everybody has a car?
Yeah, like and you in so many places you
yeah.
have to have a car.
Yeah.
And then like when I visited the States last, my hips actually hurt from sitting in a car, and I was like, that's it, I cannot. I told me I have to get out. I have to get out like right now, and I have to walk around.
I mean, I just have to explain to the audience is that your major mode of transportation
is
is
my
not
bicycle.
the MRT or anything, it's your bike.
Yes,
so
true.
Being out there, being free, getting the exercise is quite different than sitting.
Yes, and I rode my bike here today.
Yes,
it was like
I don't know
19
how
kilometers.
you do it, honestly,
And it was
Erin.
windy.
But yeah, so all those things concerns that you have, because it was really interesting when you were just talking now and you were saying we as in you are Taiwan and
was
we
that? I
as
didn't
in,
even notice.
Yes, which is really really very interesting because you're identifying as here.
Yeah.
So and it's a sad thing, I feel like, that you feel the need to get out of this environment because of certain circumstances. Because honestly, you've been living in Taiwan for 21 years.
My entire adult life.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what made that decision happen at the end of the day?
I think one, it was I'd kind of been ignoring still the fact that there aren't parts for people like me, like larger parts. Just thinking that it would happen. I'd been naive, and then suddenly I realized, and like I don't want to go into too much detail, but like people that I was working with on a regular basis in class, they didn't choose me, like to work with them when it came down to it, and I mean like pretty much across the board. And I thought, okay, if the people who see me work like regularly don't see value in working with me and don't want to include me, then those are the people who should be most likely to. And if they don't want to, if they can't, then that means like society at large here, there's not, or the bigger like entertainment industry here, the larger industry is, there's not really much hope for me in that sense. And it was extremely painful. I mean, I don't know how to be an adult anywhere else. I had thought of this place as my home. I never expected to stay, and then I never expected to leave. But yeah, I think sometimes, I mean, it is painful. It was a really painful moment, and it was born out of like a lot of sadness and rejection and frustration. But I thought, I don't have to accept that. Like I can, and I shouldn't be doing things for other people. So if they don't want to work with me, finally, it took like at least a year and a half. Fine, okay, so that's your choice.
You didn't wallow in it.
I did for quite a while.
For a
I
while,
would say like it literally caused heart problems. I had to take heart medication for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what specifically was the thing that bothered you the most? Just the rejection of you?
I think, yeah, because I thought we were all the same, that we were all doing the same thing and all working towards the same thing, and we were all like one group together. And then I realized that we weren't, or I wasn't to them, like one of them. And I had thought that we were all the same.
Is it because that you're not Taiwanese, that you're Caucasian, you think?
I think that's
in terms of that?
Mostly that, but also more than that. Yeah, I think part of it, I'm probably, my whole life will struggle somewhat with like fitting in. I just don't really fit in that well.
But I would say that in the direction that you're going, where you really are passionate about what you're doing right now in acting, that, things happen in our life for certain reasons, and so the time of you going back to the States, there's another time to grow. It's just about getting logistics together.
Yeah.
Have you decided? You haven't decided exactly which city you're going to stay in?
I think I'm still aiming for New York. I'm open to others like LA or possibly Atlanta, but I'm more aiming for New York just because there's so much more available in one place in terms of like training and opportunities on stage.
Right, because I was going to say,
I'd like to do both.
Yeah. Theater is different than film, honestly. Yeah.
Quite.
So a lot of actors really prefer the stage experience. And it's a thing where you're
very alive.
It's alive. Yeah. It's present.
And it's the entire story. You get to go in order through the entire journey. Whereas like in film, who knows? And then they could I literally just did one where we did like in terms of time a later scene, and then we came back to do an earlier scene, and then even though I'd had all this time, mind you, I was speaking Chinese for this role as a Belgian with a French accent, and then the afternoon the day before we shot, after all of this time, I got a new script. And it had like a different part, and I would have done the later part differently if I'd had that earlier, and I can't go back and redo anything. And it was just one of those like,
I wonder if it's just a Taiwanese thing, Taiwan production thing, or whether it's going to happen in the States not as often.
I know nothing about the. I really don't have any experience at all.
Yeah, that's interesting because you said all your adult life. That's like half your life that you've
pretty much very close to
been here,
and in my entire adult life.
Yeah.
So I do not know how to adult.
What's your biggest fear? Do you have any
fear? Do I have fear? I have fears
of moving back to the States.
There are lots of things that I'm concerned about, like running out of money, not finding a place, not being able to find work, not finding a place and people to train with.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if I guess still not having opportunities. But I don't think I've thought so fearfully about that. But just like I find a lot of things overwhelming, like insurance.
Yeah. The cost of living is definitely
I don't understand how to do
way
these
higher
things.
there.
I just don't know I don't even know where to start. And for me, that's very, very overwhelming. And like, I just don't know how to do those. Like, I guess they're not really simple, but they're things everyone does there. I don't know how to do those.
Yeah.
The last time, I haven't filed my taxes in a really long time. The U.S. requires that citizens abroad still file their taxes, even if they don't have to pay them. I thought, I'm not a dumb person. I can figure this out.
Yeah.
I should be able to do this. And I printed out the manual, which, by the way, was surprisingly long.
Yes.
And then
the instructions are so
I started it seemed to start off like simple enough, like, okay, if this is the case, then you fill out this box. I thought, oh, thank God. And then it just blew up from there, and I was in tears. I could not figure out, I don't understand what they're asking in some cases, or it seems to me like what they're saying is, if they're saying like, is your situation A or B? And I look at A and I'm like, no. I look at B and I'm like, no. And then it says like, it's A or B, and I'm like, but it's not. And then it makes you sign a thing that says that, you can be persecuted for perjury, prosecuted for perjury if you lie on this. And I'm like, but I'm not. I have literally added extra information to a government form before in the U.S. because I couldn't answer it the way that they asked it. My brain does not allow me to, like, I couldn't understand how to answer it. And that kind of stuff I find really scary.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of a lot of friends that have lived abroad and worked abroad for so long. In my circle when I was working corporate and things. And after 15, 20 years, 25 years, and they go back to the States, and they have to start all over again. They couldn't get a loan for a car because they didn't have credit in the U.S. for so long. A lot of the things that we think normally would be simple, it's not. And it's funny is because you're finding it hard to do something in English, where I would think that in Chinese it's because there's a lot of things complicated in Chinese, especially if you don't know the language. But I feel like I could figure it out more in the States than I could figure out here. If I translate all the forms here in Chinese, it's still a process for me. But yeah, I think that is definitely a big thing. You're going to be a little bit like a fish out of water again, even though you're an American. Yeah.
And I'm not looking forward to, like, just, I think the way people live, and I know it's everywhere, but especially like consumerism, influencers, that kind of stuff. I don't like that.
But influencers are all over the
place. They are,
now.
but I think that like the whole like U.S. culture is so much about consuming, and the economy is all based on that. And I'm the kind of person who will use something until it literally falls apart. Like, I was looking at the seat of my pants, not these ones, another pair this morning, and they're about to like tear through. I'm not sure how many rides they have left in them. But just like things like that, I don't feel like I fit in that way, like always buying something new, or like I'm not very fashionable. I don't know how to be, and when I try to be, that's not me. I feel like the U.S., the people have been pushed to political extremes, like, and people are so polarized, and you can't have conversations about things you should be able to have conversations about, and things that are important don't get done because people are arguing from political standpoints instead of addressing issues practically. And it's just so frustrating, and I also don't understand, like, if someone is presented with evidence, it should matter. And it doesn't.
Black and white.
It doesn't, and I just cannot cope with that. I can't handle it. Like, it really makes me want to bang my head into a wall.
Well, so then that's the thing is that do you regret the decision that you're making to go back to the States? Because this is definitely things that you have to deal with.
Yeah, there's
You
no
know,
question.
so I guess when you're talking about going back and not sure if you can fit into a community, I think I think, or from what I understand, is that once you're in that, for example, New York, wherever, and you're in the theater community, and you're not, a standout like here in terms of your looks and your hair and things like that, that there's the support that you're going to get over there. Because I honestly believe things that happen in our lives is always for a reason, and at this point in your life, you're making this adjustment again, and then who knows, whatever you're doing in the States may be bringing you back, whether it's to teach or whether it's a project that's filming in Taiwan, because Taiwan is here already.
Yeah, yeah. And I can legally come back.
Yeah, exactly.
At least once
now
every
you don't
5
have
years,
to,
then I
you
can
don't have to
maintain it.
worry about
Yeah,
that anymore.
that was huge.
So yeah, that's really important. So
yeah, this place, I wouldn't be where I am for sure. Like, this would not have happened if I'd stayed in the U.S.
Yeah,
for sure. There's no doubt in my mind that it may seem strange looking at it. Like, how did you get there?
yeah.
How did you get to this point? Like, you want to be an actor, and after living here all of these years and having getting a master's degree using Chinese in political science, but that is the journey that it took to get me here, and that wasn't like, those weren't the destinations. They were just the things that I needed to do at that time, and that's why I'm here now.
Yes.
But to me, none of that is wasted.